How do you reduce stress and anxiety? How do you remain calm in the face of hysteria, of chaos? My name is James Swanwick. Welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be doing a book review. The book is called The Untethered Soul. The author is Michael A. Singer. And this book is probably in my top 10 all-time favorite books. And certainly we go over this book and its lessons in our stop drinking programs, of which we have Project 90, which is a 90-day stop drinking process, and then Beyond 90, which is an additional 9 months. So we have about a year of stop drinking and personal development for high achievers inside of our business. And this book I'm about to review, and I'm about to read from, The Untethered Soul, has been instrumental in helping hundreds of our clients to successfully stop drinking because of its teachings. And its teachings are essentially, how do you stay calm, and how do you look at things with neutrality instead of looking at things as, oh my gosh, everything's awful, everything's falling apart, and going into hysteria, as I mentioned. And another way of saying that is freaking out and reacting. This book has really shown me how to respond to situations rather than react. React is very emotion-filled. Responding is more measured. So I'm going to read from the book. I've highlighted dozens and dozens of sections here, and I keep this book on my bedside table. Now, that doesn't mean that I read it every morning or every night, but I glance at it and read over the highlighted sections many nights. I take it with me on planes. I take it in my carry-on luggage. And so any opportunity that I see fit, I pull it out and I read the highlighted sections. This is a great reminder. Just a little bit about the author before we get into this, Michael Singer. I'm just going to read from his Wikipedia page, I should say. He's an American author, journalist, motivational speaker, and former software developer. He's best known for his writings on spirituality, meditation, and New Age philosophy, and two of his books on the subject, The Untethered Soul, which is the one I'm going to review right now, from 2007, and The Surrender Experiment from 2015, were New York Times bestsellers. This book, The Untethered Soul, actually blew up in popularity in 2012, 5 years after he wrote it, after Singer appeared on Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Sunday program. And after the interview, The Untethered Soul was featured as a New York Times best-selling book. It was his first book to do so, and it spent 7 weeks on the list. And then later on, he continued his thesis in the book The Surrender Experiment, which was published in 2015. And that is an amazing book as well. So the two books that are really incredible from him is this one, The Untethered Soul, and then The Surrendered Experiment. Interesting man. He was actually he was prosecuted by the Department of Justice for securities fraud. And he mentions this, he talks about this whole thing in his book, The Surrender Experiment. He actually ended up getting off. They dropped all the charges. He claims that he was framed by another top executive at this software company who invented the fraud story in order to work a deal with the FBI to reduce his own punishment. And he writes about this in the book, The Surrender Experiment. So yeah, all the charges were dropped, but in the book he talks about how the worst possible thing in his life could happen, like the FBI is investigating him and charging him, and how he managed to deal with that, how in the face of much adversity and drama, and knowing that he was innocent, but having literally the federal government coming after him, he was able to stay calm and get through that process. So I would recommend either of these books, but for now, let's read The Untethered Soul. Just before I get into that, just a reminder, if you are listening to this now, it's probably January 2023 as I'm releasing this episode. You may have heard a previous episode where I talked about the scientific study that we are doing on our stop drinking process. If you haven't heard of that, don't know what I'm referring to, I would invite you to just go back a couple of weeks to January 1st, January 2nd, where I released an episode called Your Opportunity to Participate in a Scientific Study. In a nutshell, the University of Washington and the University of Florida are conducting a joint scientific study on our stop drinking process. You have an opportunity to participate. We can take 140 people only. Essentially, participants will get 90 days of our world-famous Project 90 stop drinking process with all of our coaching. You'll get it at about a 94% discount on what it ordinarily costs clients to go through. You would just, in addition to getting the coaching, you just have to answer some questions from the universities who are going to track your workplace outcomes. So basically, they're going to ask you, how do you feel? How is your clarity? How's your focus? How's your energy? How's your productivity as a result of going through this stop drinking process? If you are someone who's listened to the show for many years or maybe months, or you're just new to the show and this is the first you're hearing of this, I would invite you to go to the URL www.alcoholfreelifestyle.com/study. That's alcoholfreelifestyle.com/study. All the details about the study and the requirements to participate are there. You do have to be over the age of 35. You must be in either full-time employment or a business owner or an executive to participate, because the universities are studying workplace outcomes. So it doesn't work if you are a part-timer because it skews the study results. They're specifically studying what is the result of not drinking for 90 days on full-time employees, executives, and business owners. It starts February 1st, 2023, and you'll be or it starts April 1st, 2023. The universities will randomly put participants into either a February 1 start date or an April 1st start date. You don't get to choose. The universities choose for you randomly. It has to meet all of their ethics board's requirements. It has to be completely random. So if you would like to secure your spot, again, you would go to that page and you would book a call and you'd speak to one of our team, and we'll ask you a few questions and see if you are a fit. You do have to pay to participate, a nominal fee. You just got to pay for our the nominal fee is to cover, I should say, our coaches, some administrative costs, and a few other things. I've said this in the previous episode. I'm not going to make money out of this. I'd be thrilled if I break even. I'm probably going to lose some money in the short term in order to get this study done. But I think in the long term, it's going to be really impactful on society. The results will be published hopefully in the Journal of Applied Psychology, Harvard Business Review, and many other places. So this is an opportunity for you to participate in groundbreaking scientific research and get our world-class coaching, which ordinarily costs in the thousands of dollars, for a nominal fee, which we'll walk over with you when we speak to you on the phone. And it begins February 1. So if you're listening to this and it's close to February 1, I would go to that URL now, click on the link, fill out the form, leave your details. We'll phone you, interview you, have your application call. And if it feels like a fit for me or for us and for you, then we can secure your spot. All right. Let's get into this review. I've got the book in front of me here, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Funnily enough, my eyesight my eyes are getting a little bit blurry these days. I'm 47 years old as I'm recording this, and I'm starting to need readers, and I'm wearing my blue light blocking glasses, which are so effective that it makes the highlighted green, the fluoro green highlighted sections disappear when I wear my glasses. So I have this challenging situation ahead of me where I'm trying to read from the book the highlighted sections, but because I'm wearing blue light blocking glasses, which have the reader prescription in it, I can't see the highlighted sections. So I'm going to take my glasses off and kind of put the book at arm's distance from me and read the sections here, just painting a picture for you. All right, here we go. The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind. You are the one who hears it. If you watch it objectively, you will come to see that much of what the voice says is meaningless. Most of the talking is just a waste of time and energy. The truth is that most of life will unfold in accordance with forces far outside outside your control, regardless of what your mind says about it. It's like sitting down at night and deciding whether you want the sun to come up in the morning. The bottom line is the sun will come up and the sun will go down. Billions of things are going on in this world. You can think about it all you want, but life is still going to keep on happening. In fact, your thoughts have far less impact on this world than you would like to think. If you're willing to be objective and watch all your thoughts, you will see that the vast majority of them have no relevance. They have no effect on anything or anybody except you. They are simply making you feel better or worse about what is going on now, what has gone on in the past, or what might go on in the future. If you spend your time hoping that it doesn't rain tomorrow, you're wasting your time. Your thoughts don't change the rain. You will someday come to see that there is no use for this incessant internal chatter, and there is no reason to constantly attempt to figure everything out. Eventually you will see that the real cause of problems is not life itself. It's the commotion the mind makes about life that really causes problems. Powerful stuff. We're off to a good start. All right, let's have a look here. Let's flip over a couple pages. I'm just randomly reading here. Remember this, you are the one inside that notices the voice talking. This is the way out. The only way to find peace and contentment is to stop thinking about yourself. When a problem is disturbing you, don't ask, what should I do about it? Ask, what part of me is being disturbed by this? No solution can possibly exist while you're lost in the energy of a problem. Everyone knows you can't deal well with a situation if you're getting anxious, scared, or angry about it. You have to break the habit of thinking that the solution to your problems is to rearrange things outside. The only permanent solution to your problems is to go inside and let go of the part of you that seems to have so many problems with reality. Yeah. So another way of saying that, this is me talking, not the author, is that the only thing that's really happening in life is that there's a bunch of stuff happening. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just stuff happening. But our thinking is what is making it good or bad. All right, let's continue. Page 21 here. You'll realize that you've only had one problem your entire life, and you're looking at it. That's a powerful sentence, isn't it? Once you've made the decision to free yourself from the mental melodrama, you are ready for teachings and techniques. You will now have a real use for them. Set the direction of your life when you're clear and not letting the wavering mind deter you. Your will is stronger than the habit of listening to that voice. There is nothing you can't do. Your will is supreme over all of this. All right, let's move on. I'm just flipping through here. You are the subject, and thoughts are just another object you can be aware of. You are not your thoughts. You are simply aware of your thoughts. That's a big distinction, isn't it? All right, let's say you are in a room looking at a group of people and a piano. Now make believe the piano ceases to exist in your world. Would you have a major problem with that? You say, no, I don't think so. I'm not attached to pianos. Okay then, make believe the people in the room cease to exist. Are you still okay? Can you handle it? You might say, sure, I like being alone. Now, make believe your awareness doesn't exist. Just turn it off. How are you doing now? What would it be like if your awareness didn't exist? It's actually pretty simple. You wouldn't be there. There would be no sense of me. There wouldn't be anyone in there to say, wow, I used to be in here, but now I'm not. There would no longer be an awareness of being. And without awareness of being or consciousness, there is nothing. Are there objects? Who knows? If no one is aware of the objects, their existence or non-existence becomes completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter how many things are in front of you. If you turn off the consciousness, there is nothing. If you are conscious, however, there can be nothing in front of you, but you are fully aware that there is nothing. It's really not that complicated. It's very enlightening. So now if I ask you, who are you? You answer, I am the one who sees. From back in here somewhere, I look out and I am aware of the events, thoughts, and emotions that pass before me. If you go very deep, that is where you live. You live in the seat of consciousness. A true spiritual being lives there, without effort and without intent. Just as you effortlessly look outside and see all that you see, you will eventually sit far enough back inside to see all your thoughts and emotions as well as outer form. All of these objects are in front of you. The thoughts are closer in, the emotions are a little further away, and form is way out there. Behind it all, there you are. You go so deep that you realize that's where you've always been. At each stage of your life, you have seen different thoughts, emotions, and objects pass before you, but you have always been the conscious receiver of all that was. Now you are in your center of consciousness. You are behind everything, just watching. That is your true home. So yeah, just to summarize that, you are not your emotions. You're not your thoughts. You are the person witnessing your emotions and thoughts. And just that simple understanding can really transform how we process all kinds of situations in our life. So another example of saying is, instead of saying, oh, I'm angry, you might say, oh, I'm just aware that I'm feeling anger. And that now separates you from the anger. Instead of you convincing yourself, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. Now you're going, oh, I'm noticing that I'm feeling anger. And just by doing that, it reduces the feelings of the anger. All right, page 37. As you pull back into the consciousness, this world ceases to be a problem. It's just something you're watching. It keeps changing, but there is no sense of that being a problem. The more you are willing to just let the world be something you're aware of, the more it will let you be who you are, the awareness, the soul. You realize that you're not who you thought you were. You're not even a human being. You just happen to be watching one. Isn't that interesting? Stop thinking that you're a human being. Just think of yourself as watching yourself as a human being. Let's have a look here. You have a phenomenal amount of energy inside of you. It doesn't come from food and it doesn't come from sleep. This energy is always available to you. At any moment you can draw upon it. It just wells up and fills you from inside. When you're filled with this energy, you feel like you could take on the world. When it is flowing strongly, you can actually feel it coursing through you in waves. It gushes up spontaneously from deep inside and restores, replenishes, and recharges you. The only reason you don't feel this energy all the time is because you block it. You block it by closing your heart, by closing your mind, and by pulling yourself into a restrictive space inside. This closes you off from all the energy. When you close your heart or close your mind, you hide in the darkness within you. There is no light. There is no energy. There is nothing flowing. The energy is still there, but it can't get in. How high do you want to get? How much love do you want to feel? How much enthusiasm do you want to have for the things you do? If enjoying a full life means experiencing high energy, love, enthusiasm all the time, then don't ever close. There is a very simple method for staying open. You stay open by never closing. The only thing you really want from life is to feel enthusiasm, joy, and love. If you can feel that all the time, then who cares what happens outside? Learn to stay open no matter what happens. If you do, you get for free what everybody else is struggling for: love, enthusiasm, excitement, and energy. Do not let anything that happens in life be important enough that you're willing to close your heart over it. When your heart starts to close, just say, no, I'm not going to close. I'm going to relax. I'm going to let this situation take place and be there with it. Dare to be different. Enjoy all of life. People can pick up on your energy and you're feeding them with this flow. If you are willing to open even more, it never stops. You become a source of light for all those around you. Just keep opening and not closing. The most important thing in life is your inner energy. If you're always tired and never enthused, then life is no fun. But if you're always inspired and filled with energy, then every minute of every day is an exciting experience. Learn to work with these things. Through meditation, through awareness and willful efforts, you can learn to keep your centers open. You do this by just relaxing and releasing. You do this by not buying into the concept that there is anything worth closing over. Remember, if you love life, nothing is worth closing over. Nothing ever is worth closing your heart over.
Hi, this is Victoria English, Senior Coach at Project 90, the program that helps high achievers stop drinking either temporarily or permanently. If you're an executive, entrepreneur, investor, physician, or other high achiever and know you're drinking too much, if you know your current drinking habits are compromising your sleep, relationships, health, and your happiness, and you're ready to finally get your drinking under control by quitting for either at least 90 days or 1 year, you are invited to apply to become a Project 90 client. Our 90-day and 1-year programs involve a safe, fun, yes, I said fun, private virtual community of high achievers with a process that boasts an incredible 92% success rate of clients reaching at least 90 consecutive days alcohol-free. Applicants can apply for an introductory interview by visiting alcoholfreelifestyle.com/Project 90. You'll likely speak directly with me or one of our other coaches. Are you ready to stop for at least 90 days? Are you ready to stop for at least 1 year? If so, we can help. Application interviews are limited and are conducted on a first-come, first-served basis. If there are no remaining interview times available, wait a few weeks and try again. Schedule your 15-minute initial application interview by visiting alcoholfreelifestyle.com/Project 90. Let's get back to the show.
All right, let's keep going. How are we doing so far? That's a very John Bon Jovi thing to say. I'm a big Bon Jovi fan. I've seen Bon Jovi in concert about 10 times, maybe a dozen times. And after the first 6 to 8 songs, he'll come up and go into the microphone and say, "How are we doing so far? Good?" And the crowd will go, cheer. I'm realizing I'm picking up some very John Bon Jovi-esque mannerisms here. All right, page 60. Our major struggles end up being with our own inner fears, insecurities, and destructive behavior patterns, and not with outside forces. Remember, you are living on a planet spinning around the middle of outer space, and you're either worrying about your blemishes, the scratch on your new car, or the fact that you burped in public. It's not healthy. Because we've developed this hypersensitive psyche, we constantly use our energies to close around it and protect ourselves. But this process only hides the problems, it doesn't fix them. You're locking your illness inside yourself and it will only get worse. Most people just go from day to day protecting themselves and making sure nothing goes too wrong. At the end of the day, when someone asks, "How was your day?" a normal response is, "Not too bad," or "I'll survive." What is that telling you about their view of life? They see life as a threat. A good day means you made it through without getting hurt. The longer you live like this, the more closed you become. Begin by seeing the tendency to protect and defend yourself. There is a very deep innate tendency to close, especially around your soft spots. But eventually you will notice that closing creates tremendous work. Once you close, you have to make sure that what you protected doesn't get disturbed. You then carry this task for the rest of your life. The alternative is to become conscious enough to simply watch the part of your being that is constantly trying to protect itself. You can then give yourself the ultimate gift by deciding not to do that anymore. You decide, instead, to get rid of that part. You are just having fun experiencing whatever happens next. You go about your business and put your whole being into whatever's happening, instead of putting your whole being into your personal sensitivity. All right, let's have a look here. Page 72. As you grow spiritually, you will realize that your attempts to protect yourself from your problems actually create more problems. If you attempt to arrange people, places, and things so they don't disturb you, it will begin to feel like life is against you. You'll feel like life is a struggle and that every day is heavy because you have to control and fight with everything. There will be competition, jealousy, and fear. You will feel that anyone at any moment could cause you disturbance. All they have to do is say or do one thing, and the next thing you know, there's disturbance inside of you. That makes life a threat. That's why you have to worry so much. That's why you have all these dialogues going on inside your mind. You're either trying to figure out how to keep things from happening or trying to figure out what to do because they did happen. You are fighting with creation, and that's what makes creation itself the most frightening thing in your life. The alternative is to decide not to fight with life. You realize and accept that life is not under your control. Life is continuously changing, and if you're trying to control it, you'll never be able to fully live it. Okay, let's keep moving along here. Removing your inner thorn. This is chapter 9. The spiritual journey is one of constant transformation. In order to grow, you must give up the struggle to remain the same and learn to embrace change at all times. One of the most important areas requiring change is how we solve our personal problems. We normally attempt to solve our inner disturbances by protecting ourselves. Real transformation begins when you embrace your problems as agents for growth. He goes back here to talking about the thorn now. The truth is, the thorn completely runs your entire life. It affects all your decisions, including where you go, whom you're comfortable with, and who's comfortable with you. It determines where you're allowed to work, what house you can live in, what kind of bed you can sleep on at night. When it's all said and done, that thorn is running every aspect of your life. It turns out that the life of protecting yourself from your problem becomes a perfect reflection of the problem itself. You didn't solve anything. If you don't solve the root cause of the problem, but instead attempt to protect yourself from the problem, it ends up running your life. You see, loneliness is just like the thorn. It causes pain and disturbance in all aspects of your life. But in the case of the human heart, we have more than one thorn. We have sensitivities about loneliness, about rejection, about our physical appearance, and about our mental prowess. We are walking around with lots of thorns touching right against the most sensitive part of our hearts. At any moment, something can touch them and cause pain inside. Once the thorn is removed, you are truly free of it. All right. People end up using their relationships to hide their thorns. Should you be fortunate enough to find someone who manages to diminish the feeling of loneliness, you will then begin worrying about keeping your relationship with this person. You are not the pain you feel, nor are you the part that periodically stresses out. None of these disturbances have anything to do with you. You are the one who notices these things. Chapter 10, Stealing Freedom for Your Soul. You must decide that you want to enjoy your life and that there is no reason for stress, inner pain, or fear. As we try to have open and loving relationships and as we try to succeed and express ourselves, there is an inner weight that we carry. This weight is the fear of experiencing pain, anguish, or sorrow. Every day we are either feeling it or we are protecting ourselves from feeling it. It is such a core influence that we don't even realize how prevalent it is. Let's keep going, keep flipping through here. External changes are not going to solve your problem because they don't address the root of your problem. The root problem is that you don't feel whole and complete within yourself. If you don't identify the root properly, you will seek someone or something to cover it up. The way you stop smoking is to stop putting cigarettes in your mouth. All the other techniques are just ways that you think will help, but the bottom line is all you have to do is stop putting cigarettes in your mouth. If you do this, it's guaranteed that you will stop smoking. You use the same technique to get out of your psychological mess. You just stop telling your mind that its job is to fix your personal problems. This job has broken the mind and disturbed the entire psyche. It has created fear, anxiety, and neurosis. Your mind has very little control over this world. It cannot control the weather and other natural forces, nor can it control all people, places, and things around you. You have given your mind an impossible task by asking it to manipulate the world in order to fix your personal inner problems. If you want to achieve a healthy state of being, stop asking your mind to do this. Just relieve your mind of the job of making sure that everyone and everything will be the way you need them to be so that you can feel better inside. Your mind is not qualified for that job. Fire it and let go of your inner problems instead. You can have a different relationship with your mind. Whenever it starts up telling you what you should or shouldn't do in order to get the world to match your preconceived concepts, don't listen. It's just like when you try to stop smoking. Regardless of what your mind says, you don't pick up a cigarette and put it in your mouth. It doesn't matter if it is just after dinner. It doesn't matter if you get anxious and you feel the need. It doesn't matter what the real reason is. Your hand simply does not touch cigarettes anymore. Likewise, when your mind starts telling you what you have to do to make everything inside okay, don't buy into what it's telling you. The truth is, everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay. You are the only one who is trying to use the analytical mind to protect yourself from the natural unfolding of life. When you see the mind telling you how to fix the world and everyone in it in order to suit yourself, just don't listen. The key is to be quiet. It's not that your mind has to be quiet. You be quiet. You, the one inside watching the neurotic mind, just relax. You will then naturally fall behind the mind because you have always been there. You are not the thinking mind. You are aware of the thinking mind. You are the consciousness that is behind the mind and is aware of the thoughts. The minute you stop putting your whole heart and soul into the mind as if it were your savior and protector, you will find yourself behind the mind watching it. That's how you know about your thoughts. You are in there watching them. Eventually, you will be able to just sit in there quietly and consciously watch the mind. Once you reach that state, your problems with the mind are over. When you pull back behind the mind, you, the awareness, are not involved in the process of thinking. Thinking is something you watch the mind do. You are just in there, aware that you are aware. You are the indwelling being, the consciousness. It is not something that you have to think about. You are it. You can watch the mind being neurotic and not get involved. That is all you have to do to unplug the disturbed mind. The mind runs because you are giving it the power of your attention. Withdraw your attention and the thinking mind falls away. Take a moment to remember that you're on a spinning planet in the middle of an empty space. All right, Chapter 11, Paying the Price of Freedom. One of the essential requirements for true spiritual growth and deep personal transformation is coming to peace with pain. No expansion or evolution can take place without change, and periods of change are not always comfortable. Change involves challenging what is familiar to us and daring to question our traditional needs for safety, comfort, and control. This is often perceived as a painful experience. Real growth takes place when you finally decide to deal with the pain. You are sitting on a planet spinning around in the middle of absolutely nowhere. You're just standing on one little ball of dirt and spinning around one of the stars. If you want a decent life, you had better not devote your life to avoiding psychological pain. You had better not spend your life worrying about whether people like you or whether your car impresses people. What kind of life is that? It is a life of pain. If you want to be free, simply view inner pain as a temporary shift in your energy flow. You must not be afraid of rejection or of how you would feel if you got sick or if someone died or if something else went wrong. You cannot spend your life avoiding things that are not actually happening, or everything will become negative. All you will end up seeing is how much can potentially go wrong. Do you have any idea how many things can cause inner pain and disturbance? Probably more than there are stars in the sky. If you want to grow and be free to explore life, you cannot spend your life avoiding the myriad things that might hurt your heart or mind. If you feel insecurity, it's just a feeling. You can handle a feeling. If you feel embarrassed, it's just a feeling. It's just a part of creation. If you feel jealousy and your heart burns, just look at it objectively, like you would a mild bruise. It's a thing in the universe that is passing through your system. Laugh at it, have fun with it, but don't be afraid of it. It cannot touch you unless you touch it. As long as you can't handle the pain, you will react by closing in order to protect yourself. Once you close, your mind will build an entire psychological structure around your closed energy. Your thoughts will try to rationalize why you're right, why the other person's wrong, and what you should do about it. If you buy into this, it will become a part of you. For years, the pain will remain inside and actually become one of the building blocks of your entire life. It will shape your future reactions, thoughts, and preferences. When you deal with a situation by resisting the pain it causes, you will have to adjust your behavior and thoughts in order to protect yourself. You will have to do this so that nothing aggravates what you have held inside about the incident. You will end up building an entire protection structure around the closure. If you have the clarity to watch this happen and understand the long-term consequences, you will want to be free of this trap. You will never be free, however, until you get to the point where you are willing to release the initial pain instead of avoiding it. You must learn to transcend the tendency to avoid the pain. When you feel pain, simply view it as energy. Just start seeing these inner experiences as energy passing through your heart and before the eye of your consciousness. Then relax. Do the opposite of contracting and closing. Relax and release. If you want to be free, you must first accept that there is pain in your heart. You have stored it there, and you've done everything you can think of to keep it there, deep inside, so that you never have to feel it. There is also tremendous joy, beauty, love, and peace within you, but they are on the other side of the pain. On the other side of the pain is ecstasy. On the other side is freedom. Your true greatness hides on the other side of that layer of pain. You must be willing to accept pain in order to pass through to the other side. Just accept that it is in there and that you are going to feel it. Accept that if you relax, it will have its moment before your awareness, and then it will pass. It always does. Let's do 2 more minutes. Let's see what we got here. Okay, here we go. Let's finish with the good one. Let me see if I can get a sip of water here. Hang on. All right, the path of unconditional happiness. If you know how to live daily life, it all becomes a liberating experience. People tend to burden themselves with so many choices, but in the end, you can throw it all away and just make one basic underlying decision. Do you want to be happy, or do you not want to be happy? Do you want to be happy from this point forward for the rest of your life, regardless of what happens? It's not a question of whether your happiness is under your control. Of course it's under your control. It's just that you don't really mean it when you say you're willing to stay happy. You want to qualify it. You want to say that as long as this doesn't happen, or as long as that does happen, or as long as that does happen, then you're willing to be happy. That's why it seems like it is out of your control. Any condition you create will limit your happiness. You simply aren't going to be able to control things and keep them the way you want them. You have to give an unconditional answer. If you decide that you're going to be happy from now on for the rest of your life, you will not only be happy, you will become enlightened. Unconditional happiness is the highest technique there is. Once you decide you want to be unconditionally happy, something inevitably will happen that challenges you. This test of your commitment is exactly what stimulates spiritual growth. In fact, it is the unconditional aspect of your commitment that makes this the highest path. When everything is going well, it's easy to be happy. But the moment something difficult happens, it's not so easy. You tend to find yourself saying, but I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't think I'd miss my flight. I didn't think Sally would show up at the party wearing the same dress that I had on. I didn't think that somebody would dent my brand new car 1 hour after I got it. Are you really willing to break your vow of happiness because these events took place? Billions of things could happen that you haven't even thought of yet. The question is not whether they will happen. Things are going to happen. The real question is whether you want to be happy regardless of what happens. The purpose of your life is to enjoy and learn from your experiences. You are not put on earth to suffer. You're not helping anybody by being miserable. Regardless of your philosophical beliefs, the fact remains that you were born and you are going to die. During the time in between, you get to choose whether or not you want to enjoy the experience. Events don't determine whether or not you're going to be happy. They're just events. You determine whether or not you're going to be happy. You can be happy just to be alive. You can be happy having all these things happen to you and then be happy to die. If you can live this way, your heart will be so open and your spirit will be so free that you will soar up to the heavens. If you want to be happy, you have to let go of the part of you that wants to create melodrama. This is the part that thinks that there's a reason not to be happy. If you have to be here, at least be happy and enjoy the experience. You're going to die anyway. You gain nothing by being bothered by life's events. Committing yourself to unconditional happiness will teach you every single thing there is to learn about yourself, about others, and about the nature of life. You will learn all about your mind, your heart, and your will. But you have to mean it when you say that you'll be happy for the rest of your life. No matter what happens, just enjoy the life that comes to you. Just tell yourself that no matter what happens, you're not going to close. You really do have that choice. When you start to close, just question if you're really willing to give up your happiness. If you learn to stay open at all times, great things will happen to you. You simply have to learn not to close. All right. I think we'll end it there. That was a pretty good ending, I think. Let's see. Is there anything else? Yeah, there's a few more things, but I think that's a good part to end. So there you go. That is my book review, or probably what's more accurate is my book reading of The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. Wonderful book, and a book that we use in our coaching at Project 90 and Beyond 90. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. I would love some feedback. Did you enjoy this particular episode of me reading a book? If so, maybe you would be kind enough to leave a review in Apple Podcasts in the review section and just go in there now and give it 5 stars or 4 or 3, however many stars you think it's worth, and just say, I enjoyed the book review, or enjoyed the Untethered Soul book review. Something like that would be really helpful. Likewise, if you'd like to reach me directly, you can always send me an email at james@alcoholfreelifestyle.com, or you can message me over at Instagram at James Swanwick. And just a reminder, if you do wish to participate in the scientific study, the link is alcoholfreelifestyle.com/study, where you can get more details. That is it for me for now. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you on the next one. Hi there, this is James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I would be so grateful if you would leave a review. That will help us climb the rankings and get our show exposed to so many more people who could really benefit from the content. You can do that by going into Apple Podcasts, rating the show, writing a little one-sentence summary, and posting it. That would be so amazing. Thank you. Likewise, if you would like to schedule a 15-minute exploratory call and apply for our Project 90 program, then you can do so by going to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. If you'd like to get the free guide, that is the Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide, you can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. Our YouTube channel is at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one.